I took a look at what people have been watching on the Double Bass HQ YouTube channel in the year 2024, and here are the top 20 videos, starting with number 20. We dig into topics like this and much more in our weekly email newsletter, free sheet music every month, and all sorts of resources for the double bassist. If you're not on the list, consider subscribing. Number 20 is all about Petrocchi's simplified higher technique. From the get-go, Petrocchi breaks down the left hand and creates this fingering system that if you just take this fingering system and apply it to what you do on the bass, I think it's going to have a major impact on your playing. So he starts on the note E right here. So if we were in a traditional position right here at the neck block, that would be where fourth finger is. I love this book. I've been using it since college. My undergrad teacher introduced it to me. I remember Rob Kassinger, who I taught with at DePaul University, used it with all his students, and it really revolutionized the bass world when he introduced it. A very logical way to map out thumb. By the way, I took all 20 of these videos and put them into a playlist that's linked up here, so if you want to watch the videos in full, just click on that and check it out. Number 19 was a fun one. It was introducing the double bass to electric bass players. My father-in-law was an electric bassist playing in bands in Austin in the 70s, and he gave me his two basses. They haven't been played since the 70s, and they are both very cool and very different. Number 18 gets into product videos, and these have been very popular in 2024. And from this one person in particular, this is the best scale approach ever for double bass.
I found it to be just an excellent medium for me to introduce very specific skills in just specific ways. What I wanted to do was to pare it down to not the everything, because the everything's already there, it's already been done. So like, what do you have to know?
This book and many of the others in this list are available in our sheet music store. We've got that linked up in the description, and thank you to all the wonderful people who've contributed these materials to our store. Number 17 is an old chestnut. It's this bass extension video that I filmed in our rental apartment before we got the place that you've probably seen most of these videos. We are talking today about bass extensions, and if you're new to the world of the bass, you may be wondering, what is an extension and why would I want to use one? This is what I was getting into cameras, and I could not get something that had a blurry background and a wide frame, so my head is looming weirdly large, but the background's nice and blurry, and a lot of fun to put together. One of my first videos I really tried hard at. Number 16 is this really fun video that I put together with footage from the Pittsburgh Double Bass Symposium.
I'm just choking the string.
I took some takeaways on how to optimize tone. That was a common theme among all the people teaching master classes. Number 15 is another product video from the wonderful David Hayes. It's essential daily exercises for double bass players, and I totally love these exercises. Great for beginners or really for anybody. These exercises are so cool because to me they're just enough to really get the nervous system going and the fingers moving, and it's kind of like the musical equivalent of brushing your teeth, flossing your teeth. So we start off with chromatic positions here. So David lays these out nice and logically on the bass. We're starting on the open D, and for whatever reason I like starting on the open D too, and we're playing. Number 14 is another David Hayes title. These wonderful 50 pieces for double bass in first position. This is a remarkably rich and stylistically varied book that you can use in a variety of different ways. I take it up into thumb position. I tried in different positions, and obviously in first position. Very cool. Number 13 is a video I put together when we were doing a project with Kodabo. It's about double bass articulations, and it was much more popular than I was expecting. I didn't think it would not be popular, but people seem to like that topic. I need to remember to do more on that. With articulation and just sustaining notes and making notes into different shapes, it's really helpful to think about the human voice. I really think that everything in music, or just about everything, comes from the human voice, and so when we're thinking about this, thinking about consonants and vowels and how we would say or sing different words will really help. Number 12 is a checklist video that my friend Merrill Richmond, who helped to design the concept for the new website, recommended to me. So if you're getting weird sounds while bowing the bass, this checklist will help. Number 1 is not getting the fundamental. That's this kind of airy, whooshy sound that's so so easy to get on bass. Part of the challenge is that these strings are just so thick. They take a lot to get going. They take a lot of rosin. They take the right kind of arm weight. Number 11 is with my friend, the wonderful Lauren Pierce. You may be seeing her later in this list. And this is all about her scale system, which I use every single day. I just used it this morning before I went out on this walk.
I think that the way it's laid out in the book was, the way I had it in mind was taking it from someone who is a beginner or at least fairly new to the instrument, whether that's like day zero or, year one, however you define that for yourself, you're going to know. And it's sort of being a companion to your journey through the instrument. And you don't have to start at 1 octave scale.
Number 10 was a really fun one to put together. It's this innovative product called the Ergo Bass from Petra Yuga, and I have really been enjoying using it. This is actually quite portable, and it folds down, so this would fit in the pocket of your bass case or certainly in a small bag, no problem. And it says this in the instructions, but make sure you are only using this while you're playing. Do not attempt to carry the bass with the Ergo Bass or leave it on. That's probably obvious, but don't do that. Number 9, of all things, bridge adjusters. I didn't think that would be popular, but hey, it is. Okay, gotta remember, do some more of those. I get a lot of questions about what these things are on my bass anyway. Well, they are bridge adjusters, and they are made of many materials. Mine happen to be this plastic. Number 8 is with the wonderful Ron Carter and his book, which we have available in our sheet music store, and it was a real honor to put this together with Ron's material. For the right hand pizzicato position, you can see Ron's 2 fingers just like so. Now I love this. When playing pizzicato, the bassist should think in terms of the right hand slurring the note.
And this book is written for a jazz player who needs specific skill levels to play the bass as a jazz player.
Number 7, Lauren Pierce joins us again with her wonderful Please Play in Tune book, and just an incredible resource that I've gotten so much out of. Please Play in Tune, how to play double bass without annoying everyone around you, and Lauren's humor comes through in everything she does.
Even though I teach intonation all the time, I've never sat down and actually examined, like, well, what would it look like to have a method and a process? Number 6 is a good old classic, this How to Bow a Double Bass video that I put together right at the very beginning of the pandemic, and it sounded like I had 12 cups of coffee. I probably did, and but one of the first of the videos that I started to put out when I got into this consistent weekly thing that really started in 2020. We are talking about a topic near and dear to my heart. It's something people ask me about all the time, and that is how to bow a double bass, or more specifically, how to get a good sound bowing the double bass, how to stay relaxed, how to pull the bow so that I'm getting a full, open, resonant sound. And it's just so important that you get started off on the right foot with bowing, so we're gonna dig into that on today's video. All right, top 5. This was a video that I was inspired to put together when I was listening to Derek Zadinsky from the Cleveland Orchestra play through the most commonly requested orchestral excerpts with piano accompaniment. I did this sort of like commentator, director's cut version of him playing through these, and it was a blast to put together, and it's been very popular over the last few years. Ooh, nice slur. Makes it more connected than what's in the part. Another up bow that no one does. Switching over to the D string, nice. Number 4, unexpected, but I need to remember to do more on this topic, finding the right string height. And people ask me about doing setup videos. I've always been hesitant because I'm not a luthier. I've been wanting to pair up with a luthier and do some videos, so maybe at the upcoming International Society of Bassists Convention or something like that, I'll do that. The answer to the question, what is the best string height, will vary a bit depending on the style that you play. But as I learned from my friend and colleague Joey Nager, who does great work in Houston, Texas, a good setup kind of is a good setup.
Number 3 is buying a double bass, the complete guide. I am so glad that this video is done well. I think this is going to be one of those cornerstone pieces of content that we've got. There are great double basses in every price category with one exception, and I'll get to that later in the video. But whether you're starting out and you're looking for a laminated bass, a plywood bass, or you're looking for something like I'm holding, which is a professional model bass, or you're looking for something beautiful and vintage like a wonderful work of art from hundreds of years ago, there are great basses and not so great basses in all of those categories. And number 2, one of the most annoying videos on my channel. Folks, if you ever start a YouTube channel, don't do a video on a topic you don't want to talk more about. I did this camera video at the very beginning of the pandemic, comparing this camera gear that I was using at the time, 2020. I don't use any of this camera gear anymore, and I'm thankful people watch this video, and thank you for watching any video I put out, but I'm not planning on doing more camera video reviews, and I get a lot of questions about this dusty old camera gear I haven't thought of in a while, so I sort of wish that video would go away, but I'm not going to delete it, and I'm glad that people are getting something out of it still. I've spent the last couple of weeks trying out some new gear, including the H2N4K. And number 1 is a video with the wonderful Dominik Wagner, and it's great to see this be the number 1 video. And if you want to learn more about Dominik Wagner and players like him, check out what we've got linked up here.